Welcome back to Montessori Mindset, the podcast where we explore what it means to form the whole child, mind, body, and spirit, and where we spotlight the people and programs helping families raise confident, capable, faith-filled young people. Today, I'm joined by Father Vito Crincoli, who works with boys through a Catholic leadership formation program called the Leadership Training Program, often known as LTP. This program is part of the Youth Apostolate connected with Regnum Christi and is the Legionaries of Christ. And it's designed to help boys grow into strong leaders formed not just by skills, but by virtue, faith, and friendship with Christ. So, Father Vito, thank you so much for being here with me. And I'm excited for this conversation.
Melissa, thanks for having me. I'm excited too.
Yeah,
I'm excited too. Thank you so much.
I know this is the first time that we're meeting in person.
I know we've tried many times. And now finally it just actually happened. Despite snow, sleet,
nothing
Arctic winter, we're here.
Yes, absolutely. For the audience, if you could tell everybody a little bit about you and about your mission.
Well, I'm a member of the Legionaries of Christ. I've been a priest now 16 years of my life. I joined the seminary at 13 years old, believe it or not.
Wow.
That usually raises a lot of eyebrows. It's like 13. What happened at 13, right?
No, you know what? I was watching something, and this was something different than when we were previously talking, but it was still Bishop Robert Barron. And he said, if a child who's at 3 or 4 or 5 decides that he wants to become a swimmer, the parents put the child in swimming classes and nobody raises an eyebrow. So if a child says that they want to go into religious, why are we not supporting that as well? Where would that? So I thought that was so beautifully said. You might say that they raise an eyebrow, but I think it's beautiful.
Oh no, it's beautiful. And I like the fact that people raise an eyebrow, because when I say raise an eyebrow, it's not that people are like, oh, this is bad. No, but people are surprised. Like, how would you know so young, right, that you wanted to become a priest? And it's that focus too, which the reason why I always wanted to be a priest is because in my life I had very good role models.
Yeah.
I had good role models and people and men who really, through their example and how much time they invested in me, right? Even starting with my dad, right? And my mom, of course, right? But the men in my life, these priests that invested their time in me and my family, the things they did with us, all of that was basically the seeds that were planted to motivate me to say, I want to be like them.
Yeah.
Right? I want to believe as they believe. And that's true.
Yeah, no, I love that. So tell us a little bit about your mission then.
I've all my life as a Catholic priest, even as a legionary seminarian, I had been dedicating my life to the youth, working with kids in middle school, high school. I've even worked with college kids all my life. Before coming to Washington, D.C., I was a missionary in Mexico, there for 17 years.
I love that.
Quite an adventure.
Yeah.
Right? Come back to the United States and you think I'm American, but I have to come back to becoming an American again for the whole thing. And now here, that same mission of working with young people continues. It's a different culture, obviously. It's a different standpoint, different mission, different challenge. But my mission is to form men. I work with boys. I sometimes work with girls as well, but I must spend most of my time directly with boys. And my mission is to form young men to be Christian Catholic leaders in a society that is very challenging. That's my mission.
Yes, it is very challenging. I think that culturally it's really hard on our boys right now. And so I love that you're doing this work and you are helping our boys become becoming young men that can be the future leaders. And I love that. So tell me a little bit about the Legionaries of Christ and the Regnum Christi.
Okay, so the Legionaries of Christ, we're actually quite a baby order. Okay. We're now, I think, in 80 years of existence. We were founded in 1941 in Mexico. And our prime mission actually is to form apostles. We're all over the world. We're in Ireland, we're in Italy, we're in Mexico. Like I said, I was missionary. We're in Chile, here in the States. We work it through schools. We do through mission work. We do, as we call bring Jesus, bring God to the streets, right? But when we talk about forming apostles, it's dedicated to the family. We form families. we form young adults to be team leaders. And not just form them, but we give them an experience of Christ in such a way that they come out saying, I have to be a missionary. I want to be a missionary. I want to bring this. So our main mission is to form apostles. That's our charism. Regnum Christi is, I would say, the lay movement of the lay part of our spirituality, right?
Yeah.
So Regnum Christi is the umbrella, and then under it you have the Legionaries of Christ, right? Then you've got what we call the consecrated women of Regnum Christi, and then you have the consecrated men of Regnum Christi. That's a whole other discussion we can get into. And then we have the lay people who are the lay members of Regnum Christi. So we're the priestly branch.
I love that. Even Catholics would have a hard time understanding this. So for our audience that's Catholic and doesn't understand it, and our audience that are not Catholic, maybe this is also helpful, I think, to understand where this is coming from.
It's also good for people to know, too, that the lay vocation, like the movement, is practically a new thing in the church. It's like a new, I don't even want to use the word fashion, but it's a new thing that's happening in the church, that lay people are discovering more and more the call to their baptismal vocation, right? If it's not priestly vocation or consecrated vocation, as lay people by baptism, they're also called to bring the gospel, right? So that's the whole thing that we are living in Regnum Christi, is to live that.
So this is like such an aside, but hey, I think it's kind of fun doing this in person. Like, 'cause now I can tell you these stories. Yeah, it's so easier. Like when I started the school, I was working with a spiritual guide over at St. Vincent de Paul.
Okay.
And I was telling him how I wanted to start a school and it was going to be a Christian school. And he's like, and he said, but you're Catholic. Why are you not starting a Catholic school? And I said to him, and in complete earnest, I said to him, well, Father, I'm part of the laity. I cannot start a Catholic school. And so and he showed me all of these examples. I had no idea. So I also wonder if I'm not alone in this, misunderstanding of what we can and cannot do as part of laity.
Well, laity, you have a very specific part in the church. It's actually interesting to see, like, even in the past years, starting with St. John Paul II, right? In the sense of how he was bringing lay people to take on roles within. Well, first of all, St. John Paul II came out and brought out the idea about the importance of lay people, right? Even in the life of St. John Paul II, it was a lay person who invited him to be a part of an underground prayer group, this simple layman, right, who got a group of people together, and look what happened, right? Then you have Pope Francis, who had been bringing lay people into the church in the sense of, well, taking on certain roles within the church. Now, Pope Leo, more or less doing the same thing. But remember something, by baptism, we are all called to holiness. We're all called in one way or another to bring the mission, to bring the gospel to people. You, in your particular case, for example, you look at this school, right? We were talking about it before. I mean, you might call it crazy, right? It is crazy to do something like this, right? Or we can look at the founder of the Halo app. I mean, 76 times asking people to help find. And it was at the 76th time that the person who needed to give him money finally gave him money. His own mom didn't even believe in him. He thought he was crazy. And his capitalists were telling him, this is not going to be possible. But he believed in his heart, and that God was calling him to do this. You are just living out, Melissa, your vocation as a lay Catholic.
Yeah.
And that's being a missionary. Right?
Yeah, right. Absolutely. I 100% agree. So now regarding leadership team, so tell our audience why it's important, this work with the boys. What are you seeing culturally, socially? What are you seeing in the importance of it?
So I'm seeing, from a perspective of someone who works with kids, I'm seeing that the world is challenging the identity of our kids, right? The identity, but also just growing up, the world is not making it easier. So one of the things that we have in the LTP program is we don't want to form nice guys. We want to form strong guys. Yeah. Right? Let's go with that slogan. Yeah. We don't want to just form nice people. We want to form good, strong kids to be strong and good men. And if we're talking Catholic, we want to form to form holy men, right? Holy kids. So what I'm noticing even as a formator is And I don't know if you've ever read the book Anxious Generation.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so those of you who are listening, who get your hands on that book. And then there's another book that I would highly recommend that for me was a huge help, is actually it's called A Man on Purpose, 10 Rules of Life from a Faithful Father by Pete Burak.
Okay.
And
yeah,
he-
that's a good one.
And
Yeah.
he goes into 4 things that we apply in LTP.
Mhm.
First of all is identity received, not curated,
Okay.
right? The second one is communal witness and support,
Mhm.
training in failure, risk, and suffering.
Yeah.
And the last one is pursuing holiness in the power of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
So when you ask me, what are we doing with these kids? We're bringing these kids to make them strong leaders.
Mhm.
How do we do that in an LTP club? Well, first of all, you'd be very surprised to know that we do a lot of one-on-one with the kids.
Mhm.
There's a lot of team games with the kids.
Mhm.
But what are we doing by that is, and there's also formation.
Mhm.
So here's what's happening. We're looking at kids who number one, need to learn how to think
Mhm.
and not just feel.
Mhm.
You and I have heard the phrase, I think, therefore I am.
Yeah.
Well, nowadays it's I feel, therefore I am,
Yeah.
right? And in that one point is, first, we're teaching kids to learn to think. Why they say what they say, why they do what they do, what is their deepest motivation,
Mhm.
and to learn to really use that for the good,
Mhm.
right? In the games, for example, yeah, sure, we play games, but in the games, there's lots of things you can form in a kid, right? Learn to take risks,
Mhm.
learn to accept when you fail, learn how to fail,
Mhm.
learn how to win,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And when you're doing that, you're teaching a kid to live.
Yeah.
And that he's not defined by his failures. On the contrary, if you teach a kid to learn how to get up again and to continue moving ahead, those kids eventually are going to become strong leaders. And here's a last thing that I really wanted to mention to you when you asked me that question.
Mhm.
It's the importance of role models.
Yes.
We have seen in the work, and this is very interesting, we've seen in the church the amount of men who have stayed strong on their faith. It's because they've had good influences in their life.
Mhm.
They've had good role models who have fed them the faith, who have invested in them, have given them time. And they've been surrounded by people who are doing the same thing.
Mhm.
So youth work, and this is really the idea I want to get across to people who are listening. Youth work that we do, we're trying to build a community of young boys who want to strive for the same thing.
Mhm.
And the amount of time, and we're encouraging dads, because we work with the boys, so we're doing a lot of father-son activities, because we're really getting the dads to understand your time, the way you live with your kids, the way you teach your kids, the way you pray with your kids, just being with them, you are forming them to be kids that are strong in their faith.
Yep.
We live in a fatherless generation nowadays.
Yes.
One of the movies that I really enjoyed the most, I don't know if you would agree with me, is Braveheart.
Yeah, it's a little gruesome at the very start, and it's very hard for me to get past it. But yes, I can appreciate it.
This is a man's movie. And I agree. Okay, there's some parts where I won't go into too much detail, but there's something interesting that really clicked with me when I was watching that movie. It's the relationship. There's some moments where you see, like William Wallace and the relationship with his father.
Mhm.
Then you have Longshanks, the relationship with his son,
Mhm.
and Robert the Bruce, the relationship with his father. And you have 3 types of fatherhoods being lived out.
Mhm.
You look at William Wallace and the way his father encouraged him, saying, "Your heart is free, now pursue." Right?
I might have to watch this movie again.
Yeah. And then you have Longshanks, the way he treats his son, and his son ends up just being weak and David and not being able to move ahead and just vengeful, right? And then Robert the Bruce, who has a divided heart
Mhm.
because he gets to know Wallace. His dad wants him basically to live for the idea of honors. But Robert the Bruce looks at Wallace, and Robert the Bruce tells his dad, "I want to believe like Wallace does." That's what we want. We tell dads this
Yeah, I
because we
see.
showed this
Yeah.
movie to the dads.
Uh-huh.
We're like, "Look, guys, you want your kids to say, 'I want to believe like you, Dad. I want to have the same faith as you do, Dad.'"
Mhm.
And this is an LTP, what we're teaching the kids,
Mhm.
right? We're teaching the kids to learn to believe, to learn to be strong. And when your faith is strong, well, failures actually become an opportunity for growth. So there's a lot we can embark there.
Yeah.
But we're trying to form not just good kids, not just nice kids, strong and holy kids for a future that is challenging.
Yeah, I think that like what you just said there, I want to kind of restate it. Let me know if I got it wrong.
Yeah, sure.
I want to restate it in Montessori terms because, as you know, as I said, Dr. Montessori was Catholic, and she writes about all of these types of things about the importance of resilience in children. How do you create resiliency in children? And so if a child is cared for and loved, then it's easier for them to take risks. And when they fail, that's how they learn. And so the more times that they fail, they are practicing how to become resilient for those bigger challenges that are inevitably going to happen further in life, right? So that is going on. The other thing that you talked about is like all the different things that are very important in leadership. And it was funny because this afternoon, or this morning, excuse me, I had a lesson with one of the children, and I have a bunch of task cards, and I said, just pick one task card, and then we're going to write an essay based on your task card. And so the task card that he picked out was, what are some of your qualities that make you a good leader?
Okay.
And so so he came up to me and he said, what are some qualities that I have that make me a good leader? I said,
it's a typical question from a kid.
no, absolutely. And I said to him, I said, well, right off the bat, you're a very caring person. And he said to me, but that doesn't make anybody a good leader. And I said, I disagree. I disagree. And this is why. What does every leader need? And he was like, and I said, followers. If no one's following you, you're not a leader. And he's like, I see your point. And I was like, so are you going to follow somebody who cares for you, or are you going to follow somebody who's going to abuse you? Right. And so he was like, okay, all right. So I think that like having the integrity, right? That integrity is a way of caring for people. And I think that that is something that's really brave, which requires faith.
Well, you know what? Thank you for saying that, because I think what we're emphasizing here, Melissa, and I think this is what parents look for when they send their kids to a program,
Mm-hmm.
the amount of time you're going to invest in their kid.
Mm-hmm.
We say there's games, they play games, we do activities, but what
Mhm.
you did, for example, is something that we try to do with the kids, is to get them to think,
Mm-hmm.
right? And also the aspect which is, children, if they feel loved, they'll advance.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And you made and I want to bring up another story, what you just said right here.
Yeah.
Very simple story. So you're always going to have a crazy kid, right? They exist everywhere. There's
Yeah.
no perfect
Okay.
kid. And so we had one kid in our LTP program who's I mean, you want to be accepted, so you do crazy things to be accepted with
Mhm.
your peers,
Mhm.
right?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, yes, yes.
You get
Okay.
what I'm saying, right?
I
Okay.
understand. Yes.
So if the audience that's listening, they'll catch on to this. So it's very easy. St. John Bosco used to say, it's very easy to get angry.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to punish,
Mm-hmm.
right? And usually if we lose, if we just punish easily, it's sometimes insecure on our part,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I noticed that there was one kid that we were having a talk, and he was purposely just trying to be a distraction on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like tempted to like, look, kid, you're about to lose the game right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at the end of the talk, I pulled him aside
Mm-hmm.
and I said to him, I said, look, I really, really don't know why you're acting like this, but deep down inside, you're a good kid and you're better than this.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I have you eyed out to be a team leader,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm still thinking about it, but you need to prove to me, you need to show me.
Mm-hmm.
And why am I telling you this? Because you're a good kid. And I will not lie to you, and this is the Holy Spirit, Melissa. It's like 2 months after, God does work.
Mm-hmm.
2 months after, he came up to me and he said, this is at the end of the year, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And each of the kids at the end of the year have to do a speech
Mm-hmm.
and present it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was God's consolation to me, because the kid in his speech said to the parents, I want to thank Father Vito because he told me I was a good kid.
Oh.
And that was a lesson for me to learn that it is so easy to lose patience. And I'm not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all at that one point do lose that merciful hand. But I learned so much that these kids really do take this in.
They do.
And they need to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we talk about, when you say about, we invest in these kids. And I don't know if that's usually the best word, but we put a lot of love into the kids.
Mm-hmm.
We pull them aside, we talk to them, we form them. And that's why youth groups exist.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the reasons, because if we can invest love, integrity in these kids, they will follow people who believe in them.
Yeah.
And they need those role models.
I think that as a whole, our society needs more
Yes.
male role models,
Yes.
specifically male role models. Yes. So Dr. Montessori talks about, especially in the adolescent programs, how having quality role models is important. So as the directress of the school, it is my responsibility. It's always my responsibility, but specifically in the adolescent program, that I am bringing in quality role models into that program. And so I don't take filling that position, well, any position, but specifically this position, I really do it with a lot of care and intention, because I am looking for those things. And but there's her name is Melissa. This woman, she wrote, it's called The Two-Parent Privilege. And her argument is that having a male and a female as the parents in a family, right? So that child is privileged over the other children that do not have that experience. And she goes into all the research on this. And it's very, very interesting, especially since there's a couple of things I think that are happening in society that we need to be very aware and cognizant of. But boys need male role models for the reason of, specifically, couple of things. One, all children, including boys, they need some kind of rough housing so that it helps with their brain and their equilibrium. It helps with their gross motor. So this is like the younger children, their gross motor, all of those types of things. But when they get older, men speak differently than women do. Women are a little bit more gentle, and we have to, anthropologically, women have to, because we have to protect ourselves. We're more vulnerable. And so we have a little bit of a silver tongue, right? Whereas men have more brute strength on their side. So they can speak a little less gracefully, right? And so, but we shouldn't be tearing down men for not being able to speak the same way as women. Or should that be an expectation? And so our boys need to hear how to communicate in a world of men. I don't know if that makes sense, what I'm saying.
Yeah, I see what you mean. For example, when we do the father-son, so we have a father-son weekend, we do 2 every year. And that's where we actually begin to see, for example, how a male role model really forms his kid in the vivencial aspect. When I say vivencial, I mean like being with his son. So men actually, dads and their kids, when they're with their sons, they're actually giving them that strength. They're teaching their kids to be strong, right? In the way they live their own manhood, the kids watch. Now, I'll give you an example. Every year we do something called the Top Gun Father-Son Weekend.
Tell us more about that. Yeah.
Okay, so we started, I don't know if, for those who are listening, if you've seen Maverick, Top Gun Maverick. Okay. So one of the moms was actually watching the movie, and we've been doing father-son camps every weekend, but we like to have a themed camp with the father-sons. It makes it more interesting, get more focused, right? So one of the moms I hadn't seen yet, Top Gun Maverick, and she's like, Father, have you seen the movie? And I'm like, no, not yet. She goes, Father, you got to see it because it really plays a father-son role. And I'm like, okay. So I saw the movie, and for those who've seen it, don't want to spoil it, you've got Maverick, right? And you have Rooster, who's the son of Goose. That, if you've seen the first Top Gun, has died. So Maverick takes on this fatherly role of making sure that Rooster's ready for the mission. And there's different moments in this movie where you're seeing Maverick face his own limitation. He's made mistakes. He doesn't want to fail. And yet Rooster, what he's looking for is to see his dad again in his life. And Maverick sort of takes that on, right? We decided to do this camp based on that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So we brought in actually a Top Gun pilot to come and put the whole thing
Oh,
together for us.
wow.
Actually, the Top Gun pilot who actually participated, he had a friend who flew one of the actors in the movie, because they really flew in the movie.
Wow.
So it was Phoenix. So
Okay.
his friend actually flew her in the movie. So,
Okay.
but this pilot comes and you put together this whole thing. First of all, the first part of Top Gun is really cool, is the idea of being a father. So there's a really cool ceremony at the beginning of the camp
Mm-hmm.
where the dads receive real naval aviator wings.
Mm.
And there's a process of becoming a Top Gun dad. So there's the Top Gun dodgeball, there's the Top Gun training moment. And there's a little bit more time to explain. But the whole cool thing about it is the Navy personnel who have come to help us, they would dress in their blues,
Mm-hmm.
put on their best uniform, have the dads line up, flag, our Christian flag, our LTP club flag, then they have all the wings on the table. And it's a ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them had said, Father, just for what fatherhood is, this deserves ceremony. And the kids are watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Then during that whole time, it's all Top Gun based. So there's the mission at night. They have to go out into the woods.
Mm-hmm.
They have to crack codes. They have to do everything. And then the Top Gun pilot's giving them the lingo of what it is, like the language they have to know, the things they have to do. It'd take a while to be able to explain that. But the cool part about that whole moment is that at the end of it all, the last activity after mass,
Mm-hmm.
the dads give their wings to their sons.
Oh my gosh.
And it's a ceremony.
Oh, how beautiful.
Again, we had 2 midshipmen that came from Annapolis to be a part of the event. The
Mhm.
Navy actually helps us with this. We're very blessed to have them on board. They put their best uniform on. The dads were lined up, kids were lined up, and then the midshipman gives an explanation to the dad saying, the most important moment of your life is what you're passing down to your kids.
Mm-hmm.
And this is ceremony. So you see each dad goes up to his son, pins to his chest, his shirt,
Sure,
right?
sure, yeah.
And he's whispering, and the midshipman will tell him, make sure you either say a prayer and say something that to your son will be memorable. We have seen tears. We have seen emotion. The kids are like, because the kids are surprised because they're like, wow, this is really cool. And the whole point of that is what? These gestures are forming in their son a sense of what fatherhood is.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're talking about there, this is in the experience of it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Even when they're out there in the mission in the dark, they can't see anything. They're camouflaged. They've got their compass. They have to crack codes. They have to do it together.
Mm-hmm.
There are moments where dads will say to you, that very dynamic is where I saw how I and my son have to talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
There were kids that were like, Dad, I don't think I can do this. And the dad's like, look, you can do this. I'm behind you. But the only way you're going to do this is that you got to do it. You were made for this. I mean, all of that,
Yeah.
that's the camp.
Yeah.
Then we have the father-son Eucharistic procession.
Mm.
This is something, Melissa, that is so important that kids watch how their dads pray.
Oh, there's some good science on that too. Keep going.
So there's some good
Yeah.
science on that. But that was so vital and so moving. Because at our campsite in Castleton, where we have a campsite in Castleton, Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
huge place,
Mm-hmm.
180 acres, really big. We made like a trail for the Eucharistic procession. And there's torches. And there's the priest carrying the blessing. The dads are walking with their sons, carrying torches, praying, singing.
Mm-hmm.
That for a kid, because my dad was with me,
Mm-hmm.
right? I've also seen too where dads would say, Father, I'm going to bring another kid with us because his dad can't make it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I want to actually get this across a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen this happen where a kid will be watching he's watching the dad who took him giving his wings to his son. And you could see how the kid is saying, and I mentioned this to the crowd out there who's listening, how important it is for a dad to be present. This kid's dad wasn't there. He's watching this. But this dad who took him pinned another pair of wings on this kid.
Mm-hmm.
It is very important. And I tell the dads, if your son, I don't want, and this might sound bad, we really encourage that, please, if you come with your boy.
Mm-hmm.
This is why we have it.
Yeah.
You are, a father is a carpenter in the life of their kid.
Beautiful.
And that experience is very, very important for them to live. The kids need to see it, experience it, hear it. It's actually pretty funny, but when we have the father-son Top Gun questionnaire, because the dads and the kids have to answer questionnaires, We actually do trick questions. So for the dads, one of the questions would be, what's your son's favorite gift for his birthday? If you knew what your son wanted for his birthday, what would you get him?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so the kids have to look at the questions of the dads and then vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids sometimes will tell dad, that's not what I would want for Christmas. And the dads are like, whoa, I didn't realize. And that's even the point. It's like, no, how well do you know your son? So these
Yeah.
activities are very useful to
Mm-hmm.
build that bond with their kids. But it's the experience. My kids watching me. I'm passing on to them
Mm-hmm.
who I am. It's not just teaching you something.
Mm-hmm.
As a dad, I'm passing on to you who I am as a father.
Yeah.
Your reflection of me, right?
Mm-hmm.
You won't do the same things as I do, but you are my boy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just sharing that. That's what we do at the Top Gun
No,
Father.
I think going back to the mentorship part of it, there's some really good research that shows that fathers who go to church with their children, I think the number was like 70% are likely to continue in the faith. And why is that a gift? That is a gift because people who are faithful are generally in their life happier.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
I would say successful, except for everybody measures success differently.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I get it.
but like happier for sure. So
Right. I get it.
But I would argue successful. But I mean, everybody defines that one a little bit differently. But yeah, so I just think that it's a beautiful gift that you can give your child, and like as a father, that mothers simply can't. We have a lot of gifts that we can give. That is one that we have to make sure our husbands and the children's fathers can do for them. So it's really truly a partnership, and I think that but what you're doing is something so special, because the reality is that the children need to be in an environment, especially in our current society, where all of this is not only accepted but celebrated.
Yes. Thank you. That's the word. We need to celebrate this. Like, I really enjoyed, and I'm not just saying because it was something that we do, but when this Top Gun pilot, this Navy official, dressed in his blues, right? And then we had actually no, yeah, this was the Top Gun pilot, but the one who actually did it really cool. He's a CB from the Navy. He came with his
Yeah.
blues.
Mm-hmm.
His blues is medals, and he's like, look, this deserves ceremony. We're celebrating fatherhood.
Mm-hmm.
The more better ceremony we give to it, the higher we raise the dignity of what it is. Now, you talked about success,
Mm-hmm.
right? What is successful? Of course, we want to teach our kids to be successful, but the greatest achievement you can achieve in your life is to be coherent and integrated.
Mm-hmm.
A person
Yeah.
who's honest, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. I know we've talked about the I feel like we've talked about the leadership training program. We've talked about the Maverick ceremony. We've talked about the games. So tell kind of more of the details of what is the program?
So the program, first, just to give you a brief explanation, it started back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Precisely here in Washington, D.C. was the first place it actually started.
I didn't know that. Okay.
We have clubs all over the country, all over the world,
Mm-hmm.
but LTP started particularly here as a way to, because you're in a city that's probably one of the most influential cities in the world,
Mm-hmm.
right, for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So here, a lot of these kids, what will God call them to do? So focus on Christian leadership,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everywhere, of course, but here in DC in particular, this was a name that caught the attention of a lot of parents.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what we do, what LTP had been doing, was giving the faith to the kids, but also focusing a lot on, I was just going to be very funny, but it started out by doing public speaking,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like certain qualities that you teach a kid for leadership, but then you integrated the virtues, you integrated the spirituality, and then you integrated what is like apostolate. So apostolate is like going out there and doing service work,
Mm-hmm.
right? So how does LTP work? So LTP is actually, we have juniors and mentors, right? Juniors are those that come from second grade up to fifth grade, and then sixth grade up to eighth grade, they're the mentors. Every LTP group, we meet weekly, once a week, every week, because with the boys, you have to be more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
First 3 weeks are mentors only. right? So what do we do during those 3 weeks? We prepare them to be the mentors for the juniors, right? So after the 3 weeks, when it's just mentors, then we start with the juniors. So now you have juniors and mentors, and so the mentors become like big brothers to the juniors. And we start asking for the mentors to be like the right hand men of the senior mentors that are like the team captains. And then so when the juniors come, you have 5 weeks. So it's mentor and junior 5 weeks. The mentors are learning to mentor with the juniors. And then after the 5 weeks, you have 3 more weeks, which is just mentors to evaluate what they've done, how they've done, and just then actually to award them for their service. So this is the curriculum, and we're divided into 2 semesters, one semester and the other semester, right? And so that's how LTP works. And you go through certain virtues. It's actually pretty cool because each semester has a particular virtue that you focus on. So you have A, B, C, and D. And so every year, you have 2 virtues that you work on.
Okay.
One virtue for one semester, another virtue for another semester. And the whole day in the club is actually pretty cool because the kids arrive. We have like a PT moment. So like physical PE moment, not PT, sorry, PE. So you basically get the kids running, get them doing certain exercises because they bring a lot of energy to the table. So you get them moving. And then you start with lines, and lines are their team. So each team is like a clan, they have their own clan, right? They like the word clan because it sounds very manly for them. They love it. They love it.
Yeah, Braveheart. Yeah,
Braveheart. They love it. The kids love it. And then they have the name of their clan, and then they get points for their work. And then you have the game. So they'll play either dodgeball, they'll play flag football, they'll play gladiator, they'll play all these different games. But the whole focus of that is to build their team, to learn how to lose, how to fail, how to take risks. It's got its formative part to it. What's even more interesting is it really brings the kid out of himself. There's so much you can know about a kid in a game, right? After the game, you have what we call the donut moment. So we bring donuts.
You told me about the donuts.
And I tell you about the donuts, right? You could do so much with a donut. You could control kids with one donut. You could control the masses. I was jokingly, right?
Yeah.
So the whole point of the donut is, now when the kids line up after the game, you have the kids nominating another kid to receive a donut. So let's say, for example, I nominate you and I say, Melissa, I want to nominate you for a donut because I saw that in dodgeball, you got hit with the ball. And instead of faking it that you didn't get hit, you were sincere and left the game. I nominate you for that. Then another kid says, hey, you know what? I want to nominate you. I want to nominate this kid, sorry, because he was patient. He could have gotten angry and he got paid. I mean, they nominate for little things, but here's the thing. Everybody gets nominated. Everybody gets recognized for the good they do. That's very important in a kid's boy's life. To recognize each other for the good they do. They're kids. They're not going to have the perfect resume. They might just say, well, he played good. All right, that's fine. Right? Then they get their donut. And they get good donuts. We have a small group apart with LTP, which is called the Knights of the Altar.
Okay.
So from all the different LTP programs, we have kids who are interested in serving Mass. And so we formed a little club called the Knights of the Altar. And they even got to go to Rome and serve at the Vatican. It was really cool.
Wow.
Yes, they did. They've had a chance to serve at St. Patrick's Cathedral as well with Cardinal Dolan.
Yeah.
They had a chance to serve at the military ordinary. They had a chance to serve, I think, at Villanova University.
Wow.
Because they went to know a little bit about the life of Pope Leo, because there he had studied. So these are the experiences that the kids have. And we want these kids to have these experiences because it helps them to grow in their faith and love their faith. Right? And for the parents who are listening, all these things that they do, they're very useful for their high school resume. It's very important.
Yeah. No, I think that, well, just in going into college as well, because you could still point to it.
Right.
And I think that that's what institutions are looking, higher learning institutions are looking for. They're looking for things that are showing and pointing towards leadership and experiences and opportunities in leadership. And I think that that's there's just not enough of it right now. And so that I think is really important. That is really cool. So have you seen, now you've been doing this yourself for 13, 14 years?
So youth work, I've been doing it for more than 20 years.
Okay.
Because I've been, even as a seminarian, I had done it too.
So do you have any stories that you can share of the children that have gone through the program and what they're doing now?
Okay, so some of our kids, for example, I could share a few stories with you. One was when we did the Ukrainian project.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'll try to be as brief. I mean, it was a really cool experience for the kids. So when the war started in Ukraine, we were thinking about what can we do for them over there, because you want to create an awareness
Mm-hmm.
that you can change the world,
Mm-hmm.
and not just change the world, but also be aware that people suffer, especially the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So we had thought about doing a collection for people that were in need over there,
Mm-hmm.
and sending letters
Mm-hmm.
to kids. And anyway, so we were investigating. We went around investigating. There was a Ukrainian priest here in DC who opened a contact for us in Philadelphia.
Oh.
We went to Philadelphia. We got in contact with them. But then one of the moms of the boys, her name is Kira Phillips.
Okay.
She's from ABC News.
Okay.
I had never met her. I mean, this is my first year, okay? I just arrived to DC. I was just getting started.
Mm-hmm.
She comes up to me and goes, Father, and I heard you want to do this story. And I said, yeah. Her husband is John Roberts from Fox News.
Okay, yeah.
So Kira comes up to me. She goes, well, Father, I don't know if you know, but I work for ABC. And I said, oh, really? She goes, yeah, we can turn this into a story and do something better than what you're already doing. And I'm like, okay. So we talked about it. And she says, let's go to have the boys write the letters. We'll film it. And we'll do an interview. And we'll make this into a project. Letters of Hope.
I love that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, Melissa. God wanted it because there were some obstacles that were weird. So we go to Philadelphia, and what happens is that ABC goes to the place where we had contacted. They interview the person, and that person said, we can fly to Ukraine and bring the letters to the orphan kids that are over there.
Oh, wow.
So that was like awesome. We go to Philly, we bring the care packages, we bring the letters, we give the letters over, and all of a sudden I get a phone call, and it's like, it looks like it might not happen.
Oh, no.
And we're like, okay, in God's hands, whatever the Lord wants, it be. So Melissa, I go to the Ukrainian embassy here in DC, small place, and I said, hey, we're doing this project. I just want to know if I can talk to you for a moment. So they said, Father, we really can't do much for you. Everything seems to be blocked. All right, in God's hands. And all of a sudden, the day after that, I get a call from Kira, and she said, Father, great news. They're flying to the border. They're going to go to Poland, and from there, they're going to go into Ukraine. And I'm like, oh, okay. What happens is they bring these letters, and so it's on the news, and you see the kids who receive the letters.
Wow.
And the kids are reading the letters, and they're moved, and they're excited. And then they wrote letters back to our boys.
Oh, wow.
And so we showed the news piece to the kids. And honestly, kids are kids. But one of the kids was like, wow, I did that. And I said, yeah, you made a life better. You did. God used you for that. And that for the kids was something that was very important for them. Very important for them. They're not always going to get a chance to see, but you're creating an awareness. People do suffer. They don't have their parents with them right now because they're fighting in the war. You made their life a little different.
Yeah.
Another example, another story. This is one of the beautiful things about working with kids. There are kids that really have a change in life. God, something you learn when you're working with kids, the test of faith is you don't always see the fruits in the first moment. But if you don't plant the seeds, there's no fruit.
Right.
It'll come. It's like if you're farming, well, if we don't plant the seeds, no food after. So that's going to work. So one kid, I'll never forget, we were on mission. We do a Christmas outreach every year. And this Christmas outreach, we can collect up to 2,000, 3,000 toys. The kids are doing it. Obviously, the parents are helping, right? And so you have people from the street. This is at Nativity Parish in downtown DC.
Okay.
200 to 300 people are coming because they don't have to bring gifts for Christmas. So we do like a toy store where parents can walk in and they can pick out 2 to 3 toys
Mm-hmm.
so that they can have a Christmas for their kids. But these kids, these LTP kids, they're out there playing with the kids while the parents are picking up the toys and getting them wrapped, right?
Yeah.
It's a whole, this year was amazing, praise God. We had 400 people who came. The fire department even came, not to save people, but to be with the kids.
Right.
Right? But what was really amazing was one of the kids came up to me and said, because one woman had gone up to the kid and gave him a hug.
Mm.
And she said, I want to thank you because you made my Christmas different. And I'm looking, and I just happened to catch eye of it. And so I went up to him and I said, what did that mean to you?
Mm-hmm.
He says, Father, I don't know. He said, because he's processing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, do you realize the difference you made? He goes, yeah. He goes, it feels good to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see the kids pray, this for me is magnificent. When you see the kids pray, kids will not always tell you what's going on, but they're processing things.
Mm-hmm.
And one kid who went to Rome with us, he came up to me and said, Father, could I be a saint one day? And I'm like, why do you ask that?
Yeah.
He goes, I don't know, because I feel different. And that's actually pretty cool to see that with the kids, because it means that they're processing things, Melissa.
Mm-hmm.
They're thinking. It's not like they're not zombied,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I said, you know what? God will make you a saint with what he's given you. Because we were visiting Carlo Acutis.
Yeah. Okay.
He was right there. And the kid's looking at St. Carlo Acutis and he's like, can I be that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, kid, you have all what it takes to be a saint.
Mm-hmm.
All what it takes. God doesn't want you to be another Carlo Acutis. He wants you to be Saint so-and-so one day.
Mm-hmm.
That's your goal in life.
Yeah.
Right? And one last example, in the summer camp, because we have a medieval summer camp every year.
Okay, tell us.
Called Valar.
Oh,
Camp Valar.
I like that. Yeah.
Okay, Camp Valar. So the Knights of Valar, the clans, you unite the clans. I would need another segment to tell you about this, because we really do have a blast.
Yeah.
So they have this thing called the Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And the kids do the Iron Man. It's going through the mud. It's going through the water. It's carrying barrels.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, before the Iron Man, myself and another priest who I work with, Father David Spillane, great priest, we were with the team leaders. And one of the team leaders was saying, yeah, kids love to see adults involved with them. They just love it.
Mm-hmm.
So Father David and I, we were looking at each other like, do you think we should do the Iron Man with the kids? And he's looking at me and goes, oh, I don't know. Because we were actually going on the Camino.
Okay.
We're going on the Camino. So we didn't want to get injured.
Right.
But then we were looking at the kids like, look, these are not Navy SEALs.
Right.
I think we could do this.
Yeah.
So when we got dressed and ready to do the Iron Man with these kids, they looked at us and they got extremely excited. Extremely excited, Melissa. They just were like, so we're running with the kids. I even got pictures, and I felt like a whale going through the mud. So went right through. Swam right through. Oh, mud, and we were all in mud. And the kids, and from that moment, there was a bond that went the whole week.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very moving to see the kids, like in Eucharistic procession. We have something called the honor guard.
Mm-hmm.
So the kids, like when you're doing Eucharistic adoration, we have always these 2 kids with these big torches.
Mm-hmm.
They're like the honor guard.
Yeah.
And so the kids will spontaneously go up and switch with their companions to guard Jesus, and they're there. And it's, you're watching this and you're saying it's all worth it.
Yeah.
We won't know what will happen in the end, but if we don't do this, we'll never know. And there are plenty of stories. But it's also very interesting too when they get to the high school. Like some kids have even become missionaries. One of our boys went to do missions twice in the summer as a high school kid to Mexico.
Wow.
And he went and he came back saying, Father, the best summer of my life. And now we have one more high school boy going out to Ontario, Canada, probably to do a mission there.
Oh, gosh.
We prepare these boys for this. This is what we do. This is our life.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the stories I'm telling you because, and the Ukrainian and Holy Land projects, the patriarchs, the cardinals of both countries wrote to the boys. They wrote to the boys. They sent them a letter. And what's really cool about the letter is it reminds the boys that one of the letters very beautiful, that children are the most vulnerable people in war.
Mm-hmm.
And by what you did, you've made that different for them.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the joy. It's what makes it worth working with kids.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the kids and their reactions that the cardinal wrote to you guys,
That's huge.
that not to make you feel proud, it's to make you feel grateful that
Yeah.
you were a part of that people who said, I made a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Not many people just stand around and do nothing. But you guys didn't do that. You
Mm-hmm.
guys said, I want to do something different. The kids made baklava with the help of a Lebanese family.
Yeah.
Baklava to raise money to send to the Holy Land to a parish that had been in the middle of Gaza with all the bombing, and it was a parish that was in need. And so
Yeah.
they raised $9,500
Really?
and they sent it over to the Holy. We sent it over to the Holy Land with letters for the children. So we had a Lebanese young woman who knew Lebanese, who knew Arabic. So she taught the kids how to write in Arabic. She put it on. This is what you could write, and the kids would copy. But Melissa, I'm sharing with you, and even the people who are listening. This is what we do with the kids.
Wow.
This is what we do, and this is the feedback we get. And what's even more beautiful is how the parents change. There's a lot of McDonald's effect here. I don't know if you want to name McDonald's effect. It's McDonald's trick is that the kids bring the parents.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. Okay. Yes, I understand what you're saying.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? So here, LTP effect is the kids bring the parents, and it's very moving when you see a dad who says to you, Father, I've healed from a lot of things because of being with my son.
Mm-hmm.
Or then when moms are getting emotional because their sons are being with their dads.
Mm-hmm.
And we've even had a mother-son retreat too.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And
Yeah.
there's just a lot I could tell you, but this has been the experience. Those are the stories.
I love that. I'm so grateful that you're sharing all of this with me and with everybody else. It's so moving. I'm actually pretty speechless at the moment. Hold on. No, I think that like what you're doing is amazing. I love every conversation we've ever had has been wonderful. I know that our audience is going to really enjoy this conversation. Moving forward, just like you said, you plant the seeds, so you have the fruit. What are we looking at in the future for LTP and for what you're doing, Father?
So the future is right now with LTP. Here's what we have planned. One, more dad involvement.
Mm-hmm.
Right. This is one thing for those who are listening. So the dads that were getting involved within the club they're feeling now. One thing is chaperone. Another thing is I want to mentor. So there are dads that feel like this is a calling to mentor.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to get involved. Either it's like we have one dad organizing the Top Gun father son. He's in the Navy. He's a Navy CB.
Mm-hmm.
We have other dads that run the club. They do the curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
They're really, would say it's an extension of their fatherhood. It's very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it, more dad involvement. How does that go about? Through the different experiences we do in the clubs
Mm-hmm.
and in the activities that the dads get involved. Not all the clubs it's like that. Not all the times we meet. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Once in a while there are experiences where the dads feel a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
We had the faith and football experience
Mm-hmm.
with the Washington Commanders. That was actually
Yeah,
really
you told
cool.
me about that. I don't know if we talked about that here, but
I did mention it to you.
oh,
I
yeah.
didn't go into too much detail.
Yeah.
Wasn't enough of time. So that's one thing. Another thing is we want to strengthen the high school branch of LTP.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're the team leaders, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we want to strengthen them too because when they leave LTP and they go to study in college, their faith is important to them.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to prepare them for that look, wherever you go to study, don't lose what you've received.
Mm-hmm.
So we're strengthening the high school branch.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing we're also, and I'm going to be very open about it, promoting priestly vocations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Priestly vocations, inviting the kids to think about, can you see yourself doing what we do?
Yeah.
Right?
No, absolutely.
Right? Can you see yourself doing what we're doing? Can you see yourself being a priest? Could you? And also married life, of course, all the
Mm-hmm.
vocations,
Mm-hmm.
right? But not to be afraid to say, hey, look, could you see yourself doing what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's one thing. Also, greater formation for the families. There is a need.
Yes.
There are lots of questions that the families have. We do have a curriculum. For example, the book that I mentioned to you about Peter,
Mm-hmm.
from Pete about, actually I have it here. Sorry there. I can read it to you again. What is A Man on Purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
A Man on Purpose by Pete Burak. we're actually trying to prepare a mini course, even with the anxious generation,
Mm-hmm.
putting some of these ideas and how the club forms families to form your kids.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very important. Many
Mm-hmm.
of the parents have expressed that they're very interested in that. And that is for the moment what's on our radar right now, and trying to open up more LTP clubs
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
order for people to see that we can spread this formation and help out families and parishes.
I love that. I love all of these things, and I hope to be a part of this in some small way, whatever I can do to be helpful, and we'll get this information out. And if somebody wanted to start a club, how would they do that, or how could someone reach out to you?
So listen, you can reach out to me through the email,
Okay.
right, through the email or through messaging on my phone.
Okay.
I would prefer actually either way.
Okay.
I do see both,
Okay.
right? And what we would do is let's get a good group to start out could be 8 kids,
Mm-hmm.
8 or 9 kids,
Mm-hmm.
just to get started.
Mm-hmm.
And then what we would do is I would like to meet with the parents first, that
Mm-hmm.
group of parents first,
Mm-hmm.
to show them the dynamic of how it will work.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, we can meet weekly,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or depending on the parents, we can meet every 15 days.
Mm-hmm.
It's more convenient to meet weekly because then you give it more consistency,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's how you would go about starting a club.
Okay. No. Do you feel comfortable providing an email that someone could reach out
Yes.
to?
So
Yeah.
my email is V as in Victor, Crincoli, Crincoli at legionaries.org.
Okay, perfect. And I'll go ahead and put that in the show notes as well, so people can reach out to you.
Reach out to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then also too, reach out to me. We would love to start a club here.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
We would love to start a club here.
Yeah.
And let's go for it.
Okay, fantastic. We did have questions about girls in leadership as well. What does that look like, if you know, even just like if you want to touch on it for just half a second?
No
Okay.
problem. No problem at all. As a matter of fact, there is an LTP girl branch,
Mm-hmm.
right? The name of the person who runs it is Natalia Santos. She's actually a consecrated woman in Regnum Christi.
Mm-hmm.
She's one of the branches in the Regnum Christi, consecrated women.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible woman. She had worked in Atlanta. She's from El Salvador.
Mm-hmm.
She has this group of girls. So if one wanted to reach out to her, they can go through me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to give her information.
No. Yeah, absolutely. No, but I will say that, like, leading into this conversation, I've had some parents ask me about that. So I just wanted to, like,
there's
so
a
I'm
girls
sure.
branch.
Yeah. Okay. That's wonderful. So Father Vito, thank you again so much for being with me today and doing this in person, and all the grace that you've shown. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And all the work you're doing with the boys, creating strong and faithful young men. This kind of leadership formation is so deeply needed right now. And it's encouraging to know that boys can grow up surrounded by truth, brotherhood, purpose, and courage. For anyone listening who wants to learn more about the leadership training program and youth formation opportunities, we'll include the links in the show notes, as well as Father Vito's email address, so you can explore and get connected. To our listeners, thank you for spending this time with us on Montessori Mindset. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a message, and share it with someone who cares about forming children into strong leaders in faith and life. Until next time, stay grounded, stay hopeful, and keep leading with purpose. See you on the next episode of Montessori Mindset.